All right. Good afternoon to all of you. Just want to give you an update on Myanmar. You saw our statement yesterday, and today is the anniversary of the military takeover. And I just want to focus a bit on the fact that our humanitarian colleagues are trying to meet people's needs wherever they are, as fighting continues across multiple fronts, including heavy fighting in Rakhine State. The Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs tells us that humanitarian workers were able to assist more than 3 million people last year, but that is not enough. They need both greater access and drastic improvements in funding to access the most vulnerable people in Myanmar. More than 18 million people need humanitarian aid, up from 1 million just before the military takeover. Our OCHA colleagues tell us that sustained underfunding of both the humanitarian and development operations in Myanmar has led to significant unmet needs that are now cascading into 2024. Humanitarian organizations are asking for a record $994 million to support the response in Myanmar. That's for 2024. The situation demands immediate attention and increased international support to address both the humanitarian and development challenges facing the civilian population. Quick update for you on the situation in Gaza. The Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs informs us that that fighting is continuing in southern Gaza, including in Khan Yunis. The UN Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, reports that some 184,000 people had registered for humanitarian assistance yesterday in the western outskirts of Khan Yunis after they were displaced from Khan Yunis city in recent days amid evacuation orders and continued hostilities. Along those displaced, UNRWA itself had to move part of its operation from western Khan Yunis city and is now reestablishing operations in the outskirts of that area. Due to constant hostilities, the scale of explosive contamination in Gaza requires urgent action. The UN Mine Action Service continues to provide explosive ordnance disposal support to ensure the safe passage of convoys. Last week, the UN Mine Action Service supported 3 convoys to the north, including 2 food convoys and 1 fuel delivery to Shifa Hospital. In addition, 2 explosive threat assessments were conducted in Khan Yunis, including one at the Khan Yunis Training Center, which, as you will recall, was hit last week. Moving to the situation on the borders along the blue line between Lebanon and Israel, our peacekeepers are informing us that they continue to carry out their tasks, including patrols and other activities, amid daily exchanges of fire along that blue line. The UN peacekeeping force in southern Lebanon, UNIFIL, also remains actively engaged with the authorities on both sides to try to de-escalate the situation. Yesterday, the head of the UN mission and the force commander, Lieutenant General Aroldo Lazzaro, held a meeting with Lebanese caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati and General Joseph Aoun, who is the commander of the Lebanese armed forces. The head of the UN peacekeeping mission, General Lazzaro, underscored the significance of de-escalating tensions in southern Lebanon and the region and the imperative of fully implementing Security Council Resolution 1701, as well as working towards a political and diplomatic solution that is crucial to reestablish stability. Turning to Ukraine, our humanitarian friends tell us that new attacks on the east have injured civilians and damaged civilian infrastructure. Yesterday in Kharkiv city, a hospital was damaged in an attack, with several people injured and many evacuated. That's what the National Rescue Service of Ukraine is telling us. A health facility also sustained damage in Toretstown in the Donetsk region, as reported by the regional administration. In frontline areas, our humanitarian colleagues note that the continued hostilities in the Donetsk and Kherson regions of Ukraine are continuing to kill and injure civilians. Homes, educational facilities, public transport, water, electricity, and health facilities, among others, have continue to be damaged. That's according to what local authorities are telling us. Our humanitarian colleagues add that the humanitarian hub run by a local NGO in Kherson City was hit today. Despite challenges of operating in frontline areas, aid organizations continue to provide assistance. In recent days, we, along with our humanitarian partners, have provided emergency repair materials as well as psychosocial and legal support in the Donetsk and Kharkiv regions. And in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, peacekeepers are continuing to do their utmost to protect civilians in North Kivu amid ongoing clashes between the M23 rebel group and the armed forces of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. As we mentioned a few days ago, the UN mission established a temporary presence in Mweso following clashes in that area. Peacekeepers have also created a humanitarian corridor, which has allowed more than 1,000 displaced men, women, and children to move to safer grounds. The UN mission is also continuing to protect and provide medical assistance to displaced communities taking refuge near its base in Kichanga, which is about 15 kilometers away from Mweso. Additionally, the peacekeeping mission reports they helped evacuate to Goma 8 Congolese soldiers that were wounded in the fighting with the M23. And as you can imagine, we're continuing to monitor the situation very closely. You know what week starts today? Interfaith Harmony Week. It is an opportunity to recognize the imperative need for dialogue amongst different faiths and religions to enhance mutual understanding, harmony, and cooperation among people, and we need that more than ever. Kumbaya, as they say. Honor roll, little quiz for you. It's not about me this time, so I know.
Oh, but we studied up about it.
I know, exactly. Okay, this European country has the oldest reported flag in the world, which is 800 years old. Boom, boom, boom. They make cheese there? They make, well, who doesn't make cheese? It's Denmark. Denmark, all right. And this country has one of the oldest trees in Europe. The Stelmoes oak is reported to be 1,500 years old. Yes, it's not Denmark. We've done Denmark. We thank them. We took the money from Copenhagen. That is Lithuania. Yeah, so we say thank you to our friends in Vilnius. And the origins of the game of chess can be traced back to this Asian country in the 6th century. India. So we thank our friends in New Delhi as well. And you're all... You all failed, but Maggie, you failed the least, so yeah, or the most, I don't know.
Failed equally.
Yeah.
I believe you said there was an assessment team that was trying to go to northern Gaza. Was it supposed to be yesterday? Did it happen?
There was a, I didn't say, I don't know if I said,
like
I
you
can't
said
remember
it
what I said
yesterday,
yesterday. But what I can tell you is that James is taking a seat.
Yes. Latecomers to the
For a TV reporter, he knows really well how to cross the camera to make sure everybody sees him. Yes, yeah. You're like the Queen. You're never late. Everybody's just early. Yeah. Her late Majesty, excuse me.
Yeah. Assessment team.
Yes, sorry. A first reconnaissance mission is in process both yesterday and today to the north. The mission aims to ascertain the current security and logistical conditions in the north to better understand the actual environment in which future aid deliveries to the north might take place.
Okay.
But this is, I know there's been a lot of discussion about the assessment mission that was announced a few weeks ago. This is really just the first step in doing a real assessment mission. It's I guess you would do the reconnaissance mission, then you do the assessment mission.
Okay. Another question. Given the unprecedented number of journalists who've been killed in the Israel-Hamas war, what are the Secretary General's concerns, and is there any action that the UN can take to better shield or protect journalists covering this and other conflicts?
Well, let's be honest. On the ground, I don't think there is any action we can take. We are... Our humanitarian workers are like journalists and are in the front lines and have paid for with their lives. We know of more than 150 of our colleagues have perished in this conflict. We have raised repeatedly, publicly, privately, our concern about journalists, their ability to do their work out of fear, free from fear, and free from the threat to their own personal lives. As in any conflict, the role of journalists is critical to public opinion, to the world, getting a view to what is going on the ground.
And can I just ask one on UNRWA? About a dozen Republican senators have sent a letter to the majority and minority leaders at the Congress, U.S. Congress, demanding that any supplemental budget package that's passed include, quote, an immediate and permanent prohibition against U.S. contributions to UNRWA. Has the Secretary General called anyone on the Hill since this situation unfolded?
We've seen these reports. We're obviously in touch with the U.S. government. As I mentioned to you, I think the Secretary General met with the permanent representative of the U.S. A few days ago. They discussed the issue. The Secretary General engaged extensively with the major UNRWA donors 2 evenings ago, if I recall. That meeting lasted more than 2 hours, where he listened to their concerns, tried to address their concerns, and made it very clear the swift action that we are taking.
The U.S. is the biggest donor, and there's a lot of money in jeopardy. So has anyone on your team made any particular congressional outreach?
I think UNRWA also has a liaison office in Washington. I know they're fully seized of the matter. Ibtisam.
Do you have any comments on Haaretz reporting that, the Israeli newspaper Haaretz reporting that Israeli army occupies Gaza homes and then burns them down? And according to the newspaper, we're talking about hundreds of homes that were burned down after the soldiers left them.
Look, I think we've been very public in our condemnation of the destruction of civilian infrastructure. And I think it is critical that the Israeli authorities respect international humanitarian law and international law during this operation. Evelyn and then James.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Stéphane. On Myanmar, I know there's no chance of getting an arms embargo, or China would veto it, but at least is it possible to have a statement, at least from the Secretary General, discouraging countries from giving that government weapons?
Well,
I don't
think we've ever encouraged or increased military aid to that country. Your second question.
No, I mean, to discourage it. Okay, the second question is to follow up what Maggie said. Have any of our people in Washington, whether it's UNRWA or our office there, reached the Republicans? Because the ambassador here is not a Republican, and it would be good to calm them down.
As I told Maggie, there is an UNRWA office in Washington, and they're fully seized of this issue. James.
Following up on Maggie's question, there was a meeting yesterday between the U.S. Secretary of State and Sigrid Kaag. Mm-hmm. I've seen a State Department readout. Can you give us the UN's view on what that meeting achieved?
I haven't had a chance to speak to Sigrid's team this morning. This is part of her briefing a number of member states on the work and on her first initial go-around.
But one assumes that she would have been making the case in that meeting for UNRWA and for the US lifting its suspension as soon as possible.
As I said, I will try to share with you a readout.
Okay. That's it for now. I do have another one.
Oh, thank
I've
you.
forgotten it.
We'll go to Dulcie, and then we'll come back to, we'll go to screen after that.
On Myanmar, is there any progress on a personal envoy being named?
The process is ongoing. Once progress has been achieved and we're ready to announce, we shall do it.
So you do have a pool of candidates?
We are looking at numerous candidates.
Okay, and over to Gaza and UNRWA. So in the transcript last night, you say that Philippe Lazzarini actually flew from Jerusalem to New York to talk to the Secretary General personally. It looks like on January 22nd. You said on Monday.
That's correct.
How long was he here talking to the Secretary General about this problem?
He was in New York, I don't know, New York 1 or 2 days. I think I saw him on Tuesday. I mean, how long did the meeting last? I don't know. But I mean, they had a substantive conversation.
So this was after Lazzarini was told by the Israeli Foreign Ministry that they had a list of...
This was after UNRWA was given information by the Israeli Foreign Ministry, and then UNRWA cross-checked the information and the names they were given. Then Mr. Lazzarini came here to brief the Secretary General about what he'd been told and the actions he intended to take.
So he was given a list of these 12
He was,
accused.
as I've said repeatedly, they were giving information regarding those staff members.
And has the U.S. seen this list? Have they let you know?
You have to ask the United States what they've seen and what they haven't seen. But I can tell you that Mr. Lazzarini also briefed the U.S. and other key donors on the developments before we made the announcement. So there would be no surprise in a number of capitals.
Okay, so UN made the announcement, I believe it was Friday morning, or was it Thursday night?
I believe I did it Friday from here. The announcement was made Friday morning. We had a statement, and then I repeated it here in this room.
Okay, but why did the UN wait 4 days to make this announcement?
Because this is an extremely serious situation with grave impact and grave repercussions, and we're seeing it now. So it was very important for Mr. Lazzarini and the UNRWA leadership to ensure that things were done seriously, in a particular order, and that people were briefed, key donors were briefed, that the Secretary General was briefed, and so he acted quickly, but he also took the time to ensure that a number of steps were taken.
So there was no coincidence between the UN releasing this information on the same day that the ICJ ruling came out?
We have no control over the calendar of the ICJ. We did things as we thought it was the most appropriate to do in the most transparent manner that is possible for us. Abdel Hamid, and then we'll go back to the room. I cannot
Thank you,
hear
Stéphane.
Oh,
I just
go ahead.
want to ask
Yep.
one question. Where is Tor Winsland all this time?
Mr. Veneslan is in Jerusalem, and he is working, and I expect him to be here probably at some point in the next early in the first 2 weeks of the month. You will get a briefing. I failed to mention the lead that Ambassador Carolyn Rodriguez Birket of Guyana will be here to brief you at 1 o'clock on the program of work. You'll see a Middle East briefing. We expect Mr. Veneslan to be here in person. The fact that he is, like many of our envoys and special representatives, the fact that they are not in the media, speaking to camera, giving quotes, does not mean they are not working. Your other question?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Ephraim.
Hello, Steph. Just wondering if you've seen the report from Sky News that the number of the UNRWA employees, who was originally 12 UNRWA employees allegedly accused of being part of October 7 attack, now it's being brought down to 6. Have you heard of that?
I've seen the reports. There's a lot of...
Are they 12 or 6?
There's a lot of information that seems to be shared with the media that may not be shared with UNRWA. UNRWA acted on the information it was given based on their own feeling of confirmation that of the veracity of the information. There's a lot of other dossiers and reports that are coming out. We would welcome any sharing of any written information. Let's go to James, because I think I don't want to miss his memory.
No, it might pass again. No, a follow-up, though, on that.
Yeah.
You must know how many people you dismissed, 6 or 12?
12. I mean, the statement, I would refer you to the UNRWA statement. It talked about 12, and that was it impacted the 12 names.
Because one is not even alive, apparently.
No.
But can you check with UNRWA? Because
I can check. I would refer, excuse me, I would refer you to what the original statement from UNRWA, which was very clear and still stands. And UNRWA based its information on the information that was shared with them at the time.
Okay. One more quick follow-up before I remember my question. And the quick follow-up is Mr. Wennesland. Can he please come into this room and do a press briefing with us?
We will ask.
Okay. My question, a new draft resolution, an early draft, we're told, has been circulated by Algeria, again calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, circulated to the Security Council. As Security Council members look at this draft, what would the Secretary-General's message be to the 15 members?
I mean, I want to press the pre-record button, right? The message is one of unity. The message is one of support from the Secretary. The Secretary General has been calling for a humanitarian ceasefire. That's what he would like. He would like to see unity from the Council on this issue. Margaret.
Steph, I know you got a lot of questions yesterday about the UNRWA staffers, but one I don't think I heard an answer to or asked was the one staffer who was declared dead, was that person killed in the act on October 7th?
I do not have that level of granularity.
Later?
I would implore you, not implore, I would ask you to reach out to UNRWA to see for those types of details.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes, Ephraim, and then Deji.
Just on Lieutenant General Lazaro yesterday, what you announced in Lebanon, he met with the caretaker prime minister and with the...
the general, yeah, sorry.
Yes,
yeah.
sorry. And has he met at all with the Hezbollah leadership? What's the relationship now between the two? Because the view from Lebanon is that Hezbollah holds the decision whether to go into war or not.
Our prime
not
interlocutor is the government, which represents Lebanon. Obviously, I have no doubt that UNIFIL has the operational contacts it needs to have. Deji, and then we'll call it a day. At least I will.
Go back to China. That's what's trending on X.
Go
A couple
back
of days ago, the former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, when encountering some pro-Palestinian protesters, she said to them, "Go back to China, where your headquarters is." Do you think this kind of phrase, "Go back to China," is anti-Asian racism?
I haven't seen those reports.
It's very.
I'm not doubting them, but I'm not going to comment on demonstrations that may be happening. We believe in the right to free speech. We also believe in people needing to respect each other and their ethnicity.
But is Miss Pelosi's words irresponsible? I mean,
I'm not going to characterize.
I'm
not going to characterize the words. I've just told you what my response was. Thank you very much. 1 o'clock, President of the Security Council. No, she's traveling. She's in China, in fact.